So I'm gonna go a little closer down to the table with the Pelagos 42, just because I've had so many of my friends and acquaintances, mainly through Nice Guy, um, ask questions like, "Where can I get one? I can't find one in stock." This, that, and the other. And I guess I'll just say, in Denver, I've been to AD's authorized dealers like three times, and every time they've had the 42 at least on display, and I'm pretty sure in stock. Um, but yeah, I I'm not sure exactly what I'll do here, but I don't want to talk about the same things that I did in the previous video. But since I am holding it closer, I could go over a couple of the same things. Essentially, uh, yeah, I have really no complaints about the watch. A lot of people were like, "Oh, you totally shit on the Clasp. Like, does it suck that bad?" It's like, no, it doesn't. It just is, for me, compared to the Glide Lock clasp on the Submariner, or oh shit, I think it's called the Easy Link, which is found on. Sorry, I just made coffee, so I got coffee under my nails. Um, or I think it's called the Easy Link. Either way, whatever it is that's on the Explorer, and I believe also, or it's definitely on the Air King, but I think also on the Explorer. I just like those because they're more simple. And they do everything that I need it to do. I really find that I get enough adjustment in these three positions, and that because it fits perfectly for me. Just I feel like I lucked out. A lot of people say, "Oh no, you wanted to fit perfectly here or here," but that's not my jam. I don't think I would like this to be a part of my everyday shit. Because I think that if you're using this, chances are that means it fits a little too tight. But so the Easy Link is going to give you, I'd say this is probably pretty damn close to 5 millimeters in these three locations here. And what's wild is actually, people who have watches like this will tell you the same thing, but it actually makes a big difference in these three locations. Like, this is really loose, this is on the tighter side. Anyway, the Easy Link should be all that a person needs, unless they do need that glide lock for, say, putting it over a wetsuit, maybe even a dry suit, depending on how thin it is. A lot of times on a dry suit, that neoprene gasket actually takes up quite a bit of this space. So, it's you probably do need a lot more extension than that. Again, we'll take a kind of a closer look at this whole thing, which, like I said, I'm just not a fan of this. Like I said, I feel like this is too fragile to be used in like a real sporting situation. Because I mean, if you are using it to go over, like, I don't know, anything, it could be like some kind of outfit you're wearing for skydiving. It could be, um, like I said, snorkeling, scuba diving in like a wetsuit. You're just gonna be in a situation where you could snag or bang this thing around, and I just don't have any faith in this system to be durable in that circumstance. So I say this should just be not on the watch. And something's going on here. I say it should just be not on the watch. And if a person wants to use it for those, in those circumstances, they should have it on a strap of sorts that allows that flexibility, you know. So you can go like a couple notches down on the, on the strap. Mentioning the strap, so I bought the Clear Blue, I think it's called Clear Blue, really popular brand, whatever, it's something like that. That's a really popular brand um, for this, and I really liked it because it had the curved fit up against the case here, and because I just think that looks sexy. It's I don't like the way that it leaves a gap if you just have like a straight end on a strap. But it was both, it was it sucked. It both had the strap coming because it fits right up against the case. There's no flex in it, so which contradicts what I just said previously. But because it fits right up against the case, there's no flex, and it came like straight down like this. So it's made the angle that this comes off would be intended only for a small wrist. I don't have a huge wrist. I think I'm like 7.5. I took 2 links out of this, or the dealer took 2 links out of this. So yeah, that angle was like for small wrist, but the strap was super long for large wrists, and it just didn't work. So like for me, with an Apple Watch that comes with like 2 different bands or whatever, I always use the longer band, that being a 7.5-inch wrist. It just fits. It leaves a couple extra holes, so that, yeah, just because that's what I want. So that strap didn't work for me at all. It was contradictory. Small wrist angle, large wrist strap, and it was like it's really long. Like it had way too much sticking off. So it was a no-go in every way. With the rubber strap that comes with the Pelagos, I probably will try it at some point. This is a ride or die watch for me. I'm gonna put at some point I might sell this watch, but I am absolutely not going to treat it like I'm planning on selling it. This is an absolutely everyday watch for me. I'm gonna avoid banging it on things if I can, but I'm also not concerned with scratching this watch up. It's a tool watch for me. As a matter of fact, it's almost a little too flashy for me, being like a daily wearer. I don't give a shit at all how scratched this thing might get up, or scratched up this thing might get. But so yeah, I should throw the straps on here, but I don't love this. I don't love how small of an area that strap is going to attach to, because this, I think it's called an end link, stays in place, and the strap attaches here, and that just seems a little not great for me. But it's going to be better, in my opinion, than the diver extension. These finicky little pins and parts and whatnot, I would imagine that the rubber would be more durable than that. But it'd be even more durable if Tudor's didn't use this end link. I understand why they do. Again, it gives you a custom fit and all that stuff without having to have a, rounded custom fit. It gives you a custom fit without having to have a custom fit, which is kind of what these end links do anyway. I did kind of mention in the other video just how much I like the flow and fit of these end links. And I really do. I mean, it's just ideal. There's only Rolex to me offers watches that flow this well, that look so minimal but yet are so well made and refined. Everything just looks so on purpose and thought out with it. And again, this is an 11-year-old design, so obviously not the whole watch, but for the most part. So they just nailed it right off the bat. Of course, they have a lot of heritage to work with and a lot of money to spend on designers. Take a sip of coffee. But yeah, so watches. I personally am a what I appreciate is minimal look, minimal art, minimal everything. So like my pry bar that I make, one of my pry bars that I make, I really want it to be not have a bunch of bullshit hex wrenches and fucking, inserts and fucking, screwdriver bits and all that kind of shit. Like I like minimal, functional as possible while being as minimal as possible. And the same thing goes over to, I guess I'll just put my carry for today out. This is Saturday, Saturday, August 12th, obviously. So, yeah, very few watches for me fit the bill of like just having a great minimal aesthetic. I can always choose something that I'm just like, can't live with that. I'm not having that. So for me, like a big one of those is the bracelets. Like gosh, I would love to be able to desire. I want to desire like a Grand Seiko because I just really love the idea behind that spring drive and all that kind of stuff. There's cool titanium ones, but they fuck it up, man. They fuck up the design of it by like way over curving the case, by having like uh, polished accents on the band. And again, I understand that I'm in the minority with this. I must be, since like Omega can't be bothered. I mean, I think the Good Planet looks really good on the Omega, but then everyone comes after him and goes, "Oh, that's you trying to make a Rolex bracelet." It's like, yeah, do that because like they're the only ones that really nail it. Um, but and then just other things too, like it's just the say for instance how like I want to say the Seamaster. I'm so bad with names, but the Omegas that have a rotating bezel, it's ugly. It has all these goofy angles. It looks like a Dungeons and Dragons die or something to me, and I'm just like, you fucked it up, man. The only Omega I really like is going to be the Aquaterra that has like the most minimal looking bracelet that it could have. But then again, you're stuck with a clasp with no adjustment. And like, I swear, like once you have a clasp with some adjustment, um, it's all over. And then Grand Seiko, I know they have like adjustment in their clasp, but God, it's just such an ugly looking clasp in my opinion. Where this is like pretty minimal, real straightforward, nice and secure with the double lock and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's important to like in just a whole sea of watches. What are there, a million different watches out there? To be able to go like, I know what I like and I know what I don't like, and just to be able to shut down a lot of the offerings is in my opinion like a true gift. So I'm like not interested in the James Bond uh, Omega because it has an aluminum bezel insert. And I'm just like, yep, I get to shut that one down easy. Where if I didn't feel that way, I would have bought it by now, or I would buy it, because it seems like a good thing to buy. Um, so for me, it really does narrow it down so much. It's like I don't think I'd be able to live with any of the Grand Seiko bands or just some of the attributes that they have on there. Also, Grand Seiko, I believe, uses aluminum bezel inserts. So that's just like, there you go. So I'm not having that watch. Every time I'm starting to look at other watches, I'm like, okay, Submariner seems like it's going to be really difficult to attain. My everything that I have in like my Roth IRA or whatever it is like, as far as I can tell, just either doing nothing or losing money. My like Edward Jones guide, even though I have, more in there than my house is worth, just doesn't seem to be prioritizing me. Doesn't seem to be interested in my interests. Like I don't want to fucking have BlackRock stock. Fuck those guys. They can eat all the dicks, like so. Anyway, where was I getting at? Oh, so yeah, yeah, I would like to put some money into some watches and some other things that I can actually enjoy, with like my fucking senses. But yes, what I'm getting at is all roads lead for me right back to Rolex. And god damn it, that is a conundrum. I guess I could get the Air King. I do really like the new Air King, and I really dislike the older Air Kings. It's like that black and white. If somebody gave me like, a 5-year-old Air King, I would immediately sell it. Like I have no interest in having that watch just because, again, I want to put these finances into something that I enjoy, not just into something that holds its value. So, yeah, I but what was I saying? So essentially, yeah, ideally I would get the titanium Yachtmaster, which is almost definitely never going to happen, theoretically, supposedly. And after that, I would really love to have a Submariner. I guess I would say no date would be the ideal watch to have to accompany this watch. Because then I don't have to screw around with the date when I wear the Submariner, which would be, 1/10 of the time that I would wear this watch. Um, I believe this watch, even though it's a considerably larger than a Submariner, is actually lighter weight, being titanium versus stainless steel. Um, and then I also would love the Air King, but um, mostly interested only in the Air King because I really do dig it. I love the aesthetics of it. I really like the new movement in there. I love the crown guards on it. It's just a kick-ass looking watch. It's nice and thin, super simple, minimal, elegant, and a little more interesting than the more common but more expensive Submariner. But that said, it's not the Air King is not the best thing to buy as far as like just parking money rather than like throwing it away, because if you look at the secondary market on them, they are essentially they go for unworn is going to be like uh, the same price as like MSRP plus tax. And again, I don't feel like I'm in a hurry. Like I don't feel like any kind of like itch to go gray. I 100% would never do it with a Submariner. That just is, that's because I do believe that the hype is going to die down somewhat. I'm sure it'll come back, bounce back and forth. So I would say that if the idea is to, if the idea is just to be like a one and done watch, sure, go ahead and drop fucking $14,000 on the Submariner. But for it to be like what I'm doing, where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna wear the watch. I'm never gonna sell it. I want it to go to my children or one of my children. Um, it makes a lot more sense to me to wait, buy new from an authorized dealer, and hopefully have that thing either stay the course with its value or even appreciate it a little bit while I appreciate it physically. Um, so this is a fucking weird video, huh? Like I don't even know what the hell was going on. I think I probably, let's go back to Crazy Town. Um, I think I probably mentioned. Oh, here's something fun to talk about. 500 feet of is it 500? 500 meters. Sorry, 16,000 feet. Or what is it? 1,540 feet. Well, I am fucking retarded, obviously. So, but it doesn't even matter. Those are like made up numbers, right? But here's the thing: is that extra protection that you have does theoretically transfer over to durability. So like 500-meter watch is going to have thicker crystal, which is going to be, I guess, a good thing to have. But one thing that a lot of people don't know, watch people would know this, but a lot of people wouldn't know this, is that let's say like your standard water resistant, Timex, Casio, whatever it is, that's like 30 meters. 30 meters does not mean that you can go down to 30 meters. 30 meters means you barely can swim with that, because the movement of your wrist, actually, like if you go like splash water or whatever, you're pressure forcing water up against the watch, which is hard to measure what that pressure is. But it can be substantial. So a place where, say, like a 300-meter watch would make a lot of sense, start to make a lot of sense, is if you actually did dive, say, down to like 90 feet or something like that. I personally can dive down to like 45, but it's, not easy. And I'm not fucking Wim Hof or whatever. But so the thing is, if you could dive down to 90 feet and then say you bang this watch on something down at 90 feet, you're gonna have like all the pressure of that 90 feet of water on top of you, plus a lot more from like banging this watch. Say you even just squeezed it while you're at 90 feet. I don't know what that pressure is, but it's gonna be significant down there. So that's where like the 300 meters depth water resistance actually does make sense, because that's not measurable. Like squeezing this watch, I don't know what that pressure is. And then if I go down to 90 feet and I accidentally squeeze it again, or I bang it up against something, I don't know what kind of pressure is being generated in here, but it's probably significantly more than 90 feet. And that's where, those are the aspects where it actually makes sense. Overall durability on land, more durable. And then actually like, instead of going like, hey, you better not bang that thing because it's, you know, this is a 100-meter watch and you're whatever. So that makes sense, right? And that's where that kind of thing makes sense. But when you start going to 500, it's like, I guess they wanted to have something like a Sea Dweller version of a Tudor. And so that's kind of where this comes into play. But I think almost every single person who owns this watch would say, boy, I'd gladly trade. I'd gladly lose 200 meters or even more on this watch if they could make it thinner. And then it's like, oh, they have a Pelagos 39. The Pelagos 39 is quite a different watch than this. It's stark different, which is good because it's a lot fancier, and the no date and all that kind of stuff is cool, a good change. For me, if I had to choose one, it's just because I'm a big guy. I would still choose the 42. But I do look forward to picking up the 39 at some point. Actually, I don't know if like that. I guess buying Tudors probably only helps you get a Rolex. But people are on the fence about that. Like, if say like the AD calls me and offers me an Air King, does that mean I'm fucked for a Submariner for a year or two? I don't even know if they would be honest with me, to be honest, to tell the truth. Man, and on that note, how fucking bizarre is it how coy and unresponsive like the ADs are? I guess it's because they're supposedly bombarded constantly with people demanding watches from them, but and not supposedly, I've actually seen people act pretty gross in ADs. With my very limited experience at authorized dealers, I've seen people be real gross to those guys. So I think they kind of will get off on being snooty to people if they even kind of detect a little bit of grossness. But yeah, it's weird how you don't get any straight answers, like at all. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video now. 23 minutes is a long time. It's a lot to ask of you guys. Anyway, palabra a tu madre. We'll probably talk about this a little bit more. It's a cool watch. I think it's fun to, have a watch video that is a little bit different from the other ones. I know that for me at least, obviously I'm the one speaking, so I would like this information for myself. But I hope you guys liked the video. Have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. And palabra a tu madre.